Hello, hello. You guys know we got Martimus Maximus right here in the studio. How you doing, Marty?
Doing really good. Thanks for the invite, guys. Good to be here. Feels good.
Oh man, I'm not going to delve deep off into medieval times and Renaissance period and Victorian and 1800s and not consult you. You know that's not going to happen.
I'm the man to see, definitely.
Yeah, man. I've been stirring up the pot lately, as you know, man.
Yeah, man.
But it's okay. That's what it's all about. You got to shake the nest to see what falls out.
Well, you're chucking everyone's suitcase out the fucking window, aren't you?
Yep. Got to do it, man. Yeah, you're like all-time favorite guest ever. I guess coming to the United States and traveling halfway across the Midwest with me twice kind of made you a favorite on Archaix.
I know. I love America. It's a shame all the shit's going down.
Yeah, it's still pretty nice here, man. It ain't got bad yet.
I don't think Texas will ever be affected by world affairs. You know, the whole world could implode. I don't think Texas would even notice. Just carry on.
You know, it's a pretty good dead. It's a dead giveaway though. When all the Fortune 500 companies, if they don't move their operations here, they at least open up a new office in a high-rise building in Houston. It's kind of a dead giveaway that they're all on board and they all know that wherever things are going down, they're going to be leaving Texas alone.
All of this has been in the plan, though, because all along, like Highway 35, they've just been building fuckloads of industrial estates as far as the eye can see. They're going into production big time, man. They're going to be the producers for the world and then charge 25% tax.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt, man. What's going on in Wales right now?
Well, I don't know. The atmosphere is a bit strange. Everyone thinks there's going to be a big war.
Yeah, I did see that. I did see.
Yeah, they all watch the mainstream, so they all think that. So they're all like linked into the bad energy thing. But Wales is pretty good. It's beautiful weather. Life's coming back, and it feels pretty good. Yeah. I'm happy with it.
You mentioned. I'm gonna have to look for it later. But you mentioned Punch magazine.
Yeah. I've got a book of it from 1856. 1855.
Okay, well, I have a Punch book too from the 1800s, and I know you like to get a lot of your humor and stuff.
Oh, the depictions are fantastic from there.
So, let me dig that out and see if you need that year, and I will mail that to you because I know you get a lot of videos out of that.
Yeah, I use Punch magazine.
They're huge. Punch is huge. It's like this big. It's a big.
Mine is too.
It's huge.
I open it, moths fly out.
Something else. Oh, this is North American Ethnology, 1889. But I have a Punch magazine. I have a Punch magazine book. As soon as I locate it, it's in here somewhere because we were just redoing all the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I find it, I'll get your address again, man. I'll send it to you.
Tell you what, I got a lot of books over there, but they're just collecting dust. They're driving me nuts, actually. They get moldy.
Man, hold up. Do we have some things to talk about today?
Oh, my God.
For real.
Buckle up. Thank you. It's nice of you to say, Ripple.
What's going on in the chat?
She just said I had a nice organ.
Oh, hell. I see you got that mandala behind you. On the wall.
Yeah. Beautiful, isn't it? I thought the colours were really lush. That's what it's there. And it fits my head.
Hold on, man. You just moved out the way like that shit's really there.
I live in a church.
Yeah, I see it.
That's my sound system. That's my beatbox. Ghetto blaster.
That's awesome. Yeah, moderators. Okay, I see you're already doing it. Yeah, post the link to his channel in the
Thanks.
In the live feed. My moderators are really good at that. They're already on top of that type of stuff.
Yeah, man. Oh, let's get this coffee down us, man. So,
shoot, I'm drinking out the Death Star, man.
Busy times as a YouTuber.
Today.
Oh my God, it's the fucking Death Star.
It's the Death Star, dude. It's our moon. The Death Star is the moon.
Luke, I am your father.
Yep. Yeah, you know what's crazy? If Star Wars would have been filmed now, He Darth Vader would have took his helmet off. It'd have been a she.
I have got a meme like that actually, and that's what would happen. Yeah. That's what happened with Doctor Who. It's one of the greatest programs ever, and they replaced it with like I don't even want to mention. But they're getting rid of him. They're going back to Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper. It will be fantastic.
Doctor Who was before his time, man.
Oh, mate. Oh, listen. There was other programs, Tomorrow People as well. I used to follow and really get excited for. They could like just transit through time. Oh, it was just I was obsessed with that program. It was brilliant. Tomorrow People.
So,
yeah.
Let me kick off this intro, and then I know you got some awesome pictures to show us.
I have plenty of juicy images.
Just to give everybody some context about the direction we're going, you have to understand, coming out of the Dark Ages, whatever happened, we're not going as far back as the Great Justinian Darkness period of the 600s, 500, the 6th century being the 500s. We're talking about when we started emerging as a European and Mediterranean cultures. The Vikings were taking over everywhere. The Northmen had later become the Normans in Normandy and northern French, but they had taken over England, the Battle of Hastings. But this Northman also was very rich in the blood of Rus. This is Russian blood. And these cultures flooded Europe, and they brought economic and cultural changes that literally created the Middle Age period. We emerged out of the Dark Ages by invasions of Northmen. And these Northmen intermarried with the local cultures. They made all kinds of trade alliances. And the people that were attached to the Northmen, it's going to blow your mind when you find out about this. So at this time in the 900s, huge Islamic power shift from Baghdad to Persia. Islam rifted and split, and a huge portion of Islam, they rifted into the Sufi movement in Iran. Block printing became real popular in China 500 years before it emerged in Europe in 1440 AD. The Song dynasty in China began, and new techniques in double harvesting doubled the population in China in 50 years. The Rus of Russia subdued Khazaria. You've heard a lot about the Khazarians, but the Russians subdued the kingdom of Khazaria in the 900s and forced the population. It was a Bulan, king of Khazaria. He forced his own population to convert to Judaism in the year 966 AD. It's not a Phoenix year, but 966 is divisible. It's 138 times 7. So it was in the 900s that the Holy Roman Empire began in Germany, with the Pope crowning Otto I. The Chinese ingenuity was expressed in the 900s with the building of tower clocks. Have you ever seen a tower clock, a Chinese tower clock? Mm-hmm. With all the multiple differential gears and all the little birds that pop up and chirp? It's crazy what they were building. They were building them. China was building them in the city squares. But these old tower clocks. I know you're familiar with the earthquake predictors, the dragon clocks.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, those are Chinese too. You got pictures of those?
Probably somewhere in my pictures if I just put them in.
Oh, you got a million pictures.
I have got like hundreds of thousands of images. But interestingly, with the Norman conquest of Britain, you know, it's depicted on the Bayeux Tapestry, isn't it? With
yes, it is. With the
landing of William and Harold's getting an arrow in the eye. But interestingly, there was a comet that went over, apparently an appearance of Halley's Comet, and it's depicted on the Bayeux Tapestry. So
that is awesome. I'm going to argue that, though, Martin. I'm going to say that absolutely there was a comet. It was 1066 AD. The Normans were already in power throughout Europe, and they were building their power base in the Mediterranean, and they were the ones that spearheaded the Crusades later on. But that comet, I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to follow Charles Fort. In 1919, in Book of the Damned, Charles Fort basically called poppycock on all the Halley's Comet BS.
Yeah, no, I got the book. And he did. Yeah, you know, I know. It hasn't got a banner on the side that says Halley, has it? You know, so
yeah, he said there's so many incidents in the historical record where the comet never appeared. It's supposed to appear every 75, 76 years, and there's many times it never appeared. But when a comet does appear, all of a sudden they say that's Halley's. Yeah. And Charles Fort called bullshit on that.
Yeah, well, that's just to push their heliocentrism, if you ask me. But there you go.
I'm not buying it. So it's at this time, Martin, we're leading up to the building of the very first cathedral.
Mhm.
In the thousands, there's a rift between the Greek Eastern Orthodox Church and the Church of Rome. In 1054 AD, a cathedral had not yet been built. And there's this huge rift in Christianity between the Eastern Greek Orthodox and the Church of Rome, Western Christianity. It had been brewing for centuries. Much of the contention between the Christians and the Byzantine Empire and those guided by the papacy in Rome concerned the status of the papacy and its right to govern over Christendom. I know you've heard of the donation of Constantine being a forgery. You've heard of that document being a forgery?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when the Pope tried to claim that he had the right over all the matriarchies and all the monarchies of Europe. So the variance between the Latin West and the Greek East it's evident through contrary edicts and councils that they had conducted. They were always at odds. The separation in Christianity was going to happen anyway. But it was in the same year, 1054, before any cathedrals had ever been built, before any universities were even started. Pope Leo IX excommunicated the Patriarch of Constantinople. He excommunicated him from the church, and it caused this huge division. But this division lasted all the way up until present time. It's never been healed. It even splintered off into another movement I know you heard of called the anti-popes. Mm-hmm. You've heard of the anti-popes? Mm-hmm. This is that was caused by a German king as well. So England defeated Scotland in the 1000s. The Turks, we all know the story of William Wallace. This is the time period. The Turks took Baghdad. And when they took Baghdad, Islam had been under the Abbasid dynasty for 3 centuries, and now the Turks became the central power of Islam when they took Babylon, which is now called Baghdad. So the Turks invaded Greece, and they did it so fast, it was found out later in specialist literature, you'll find, no surprise here, that the Jews in the communities that were in Greece opened the city gates to allow the Turks to invade. And a lot of specialist literature that I could share with you if you want to know it. It's the Turks used the Jews as interpreters, as financiers, as scribes, and left them in charge as mayors and governors over Christian cities every time they conquered. And the Turks were able to conquer all these Christian cities that were very fortified, huge walls, all this, because they were able to open the city gates up at night where everybody was asleep. And this is the beginning time when Christianity was really starting to get pissed off at the Jewish populations. So the Turks became the dominant force of Islam, just as the Europeans of Viking blood, the Northmen, now occupied France, England, Russia expanding its empire all the way down to Byzantium, attacking and sacking it twice. The Normans invaded England, and William the Conqueror begins the Tower of London. It is the first... I believe the Tower of London is the very first outside.
First round tower. And also here in Cardiff, his son, William the Bastard's brother, was locked up in Cardiff Castle. And apparently Llanterf Cathedral was one of the first on earth, they say, and that was Norman. So,
that's right. Norman architecture. Can you show us some Norman architecture while I finish this intro?
Yes. Well, Norman. I've got Gothic.
Well, the Gothic followed the Norman, but it stems from the same source.
Yeah, of course I have. Do you want to go in that order? Okay.
Yeah, the what is this?
Okay.
I'm looking at somebody putting 1,000 O's on there. Is that necessary?
Spamage. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, this is definitely Norman because it's in Norman territory. This is Chartres Cathedral in France. This was like the hub of the Normans. So I dare say this is one of their productions. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that, though.
It is.
Yeah. Just massive on the landscape, isn't it? Compared to everything else.
So this, what we're looking at right here, Chartres is...
No, that's not. This is Milan, this one.
Okay, that's Milan. I was going to say Chartres is 11. Well, they started building it in 1194.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that
the
would have been
interior is
that's during the Norman period. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, well, there's a Gothic church that they took out or never took out. They managed to bomb the entire of Cologne, but completely missed Cologne Cathedral. It's absolutely fascinating.
That's Cologne. Well, Cologne was built in like 1242, 1248. That's when they started building it. But Cologne, Cologne took over 500 years to, according to the narrative, it took over 500 years to finish that structure. So it was finished in 1880. Now, the 1880 date could be just a reconstruction date. It could be, I don't know. But when you do a deep search on Cologne Cathedral in Germany, you'll find out that it started in the 1240s, and it wasn't declared finished by the church until the year 1880. That's a long time to build a cathedral, but then again, we got temples in the Greek world that took 4 and 5 centuries too.
Yeah, this is the interior of Chartres. They've bagged it up with all like sandbags, so it didn't take any. If a bomb did hit it,
oh wait a minute, somebody said dark screen.
A bomb hit our cathedral here in Cardiff. Apparently, a lone pilot dropped a mine, and it just missed it, but it blew the roof off here in Cardiff during the war. It just missed it, but it blew the roof off. Oh, there's me.
Hold on, man. Hey, they're saying it's a dark screen. Hold on. We just got to correct this real quick.
Okay.
We got to correct this real quick. You're sharing your screen?
I am. I'll stop sharing now, but I was sharing, yeah.
Go ahead and share it again. Saying it was a totally black screen.
Oh, we do apologize. Wasn't actually looking. Should be there.
Yeah, we'll start that over again. No panic.
Okay, can you see that?
Absolutely.
Okay, guys. It should come up now. I got the eye on the screen. Okay.
Yeah. Wait a minute. It's still dark, bro.
Oh, that's not me. I'm sharing.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing. I
don't understand. Go ahead and share it so we can figure out what the problem is.
Excuse me?
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen so we can figure out what the problem is. Because it's showing that the screen's being shared, but it's not showing any images.
Okay. Share screen.
It'll pop up.
Yeah. Let's see. You see that?
Oh, no, I'm not. It's not showing that you're sharing the screen. There's nothing for me to click on.
What about that? Can you see that?
Okay, there. Yeah, I see it now.
Okay. Can you see it, guys?
I got it in the studio app. On StreamYard, I can see the pictures you're showing. But on YouTube, it's not showing. It's not sharing your screen.
That's fucking nuts. I've never seen that in my life.
I've never seen it on StreamYard either. Hold on.
What's going on? Let me try a different format. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. It's never really happened before on StreamYard to myself. Really weird. What the fuck?
You said turn it on and off again. Oh, somebody said turn it on and off again.
Turn what off and on again?
I don't know. Maybe exit the StreamYard app and come back in. Because it's showing it here on my screen. I can see exactly.
Yeah, I can see it clearly too.
But it's not showing up on YouTube. Okay, hold on. So you just shared it? Okay, I'm looking at what you're showing.
See that?
I can't believe this, man. It's not showing it. No, it's not.
Screen.
It's a totally black screen, bro, and we're just off to the side. Let me see. Man, quick! You quit before I can experiment and do anything. You keep taking it off. Share it, and I'm gonna click onto it and see what I can see in it.
Okay.
We got AIX messing with us, guys. All right, cool. So here we are.
I've never seen this.
Shared screen. So all it says is edit name, kick from studio, banned. So it's all there. I do not know why this is not showing this. This is not cool.
No, not for when we're going to share pickage. No.
You said pickage. All right, let's try this.
All right, let me bounce and come back in, see if it's anything to do with that then, right?
Well, all right, go ahead and try.
Well, it'll take me 2 seconds.
This is so weird.
Oh.
Do not know. I do not know what kind of problems that is. Didgeridoo said it's okay. Yeah, you can see me. He went ahead and bounced out. He's going to bounce back in. He'll fix it as soon as he gets back. He just clicks back on the. He said, "We saw it just now." I don't know what you saw because he was gone. All right, you're back, bro.
Mm-hmm. Let's make this happen.
Now share it. Okay, I see it. There it is.
Yes? Do we have a big Nora? No, black flipping screen. Wow.
No, don't do nothing yet because you. Let me experiment with it now. Let me see.
No,
I've never seen this either. This is unusual.
I've been sharing these screens for years on this StreamYard. I've never seen this before though.
You taught me how to use StreamYard.
Yeah, I just never seen a black screen before.
So maybe we need to move it over to here. Move it over to here. So you are sharing the screen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Can you see on the bottom of your you know where your StreamYard is there like a window open with like the picture on it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Click that, it'll come up.
Well, I am. Oh, they can see it now. They can see it now. I just had to take us off while you're showing the pictures.
Ah. Okay, we're in business. We are in business. Back to the Norman churches. Yeehaw! Thanks, guys.
I don't know what happened there, man. It's just so crazy.
I don't know. But we sorted it. It's all better now. Okay, we're back onto the cathedrals. There. Can you see them?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's not Cologne. What is that? The Basilica Santa Maria? Is that Florence?
No, that's in Milano.
That's Milan?
Yeah. It's just incredible. They are all these cathedrals of these European cities are absolutely just unbelievable. You see them from miles away as well. Like, they're very prominent on the landscape, I've noticed.
So get this, Martin. We got the Norman invasion in 1066. The Normans were thoroughly Christianized. I mean, as soon as they made a deal with the King of France, he gave them the north of France and they built a kingdom. It later became called Normandy. Mm-hmm. Well, the Norman knights were a military and a mariner race that was feared. And they had this amazing technical abilities. They were the elite in technology and information of the time. And the Battle of Hastings and the comet that appeared in 1066 and the invasion of Normandy, of Britain, 4 years later, they're already erecting the very first cathedral at Canterbury Cathedral in England, which they started it. They started it in 1070, but it's nowhere near the prestige as the later cathedrals. But still, it's the very first cathedral we have in the historical record. Was built by the invading Christian Normans, and they had Jewish retainers. They brought a huge entourage of Jewish financiers, Jewish scribes, translators, and all the support staff that militaries use was basically Jewish. Hmm. So this was 1070, but the cathedral was small, and it only took about 7.5-8 years to build it. This is the very first one. It's in Canterbury Cathedral in England, and the second one was also built by the Normans, and it's what is it called? It's not really. Sorbonne is a university. I'm sorry, it's not a cathedral. Mm-hmm. The first cathedral in France is I believe is Notre Dame. Notre Dame, how you say it? Notre Dame?
Yeah, Notre Dame. Yeah. Just been reopened.
Yeah, that's 1163.
Hmm.
Notre Dame Cathedral is 1163. It's the very first cathedral in France. It was built by the Normans as well.
Yeah, this is the one you can see is Land of Cathedral here in Cardiff when it took a bombing in World War II. But the back bit is the bottom bit is the oldest bit is Norman. You can touch it like it's supposed to be the first bit of this cathedral. So
yeah. Well, you do know that a lot of the pictures that show like the Antiquitech, the antennas and all that stuff,
yeah, sure.
You know that is technology that's been retrofitted on older Norman buildings that have had Gothic upgrades. Because in the history of art and architecture, you find out that when Gothic style basically became the new fad for about 200 years, nobody really wanted to look like they were out of style. And
Yeah.
the old Norman stuff was Romanesque. But I do believe that we've had suppressed technologies. I do believe that for a fact because I've seen the antenna hardware. I've seen the grounds. Remember the pictures we looked at on the grounds coming off cathedrals? And there's no reason for that ground to go all the way from an antenna at the top all the way down the side of a building and get grounded into a concrete foundation. It's all.
Well, they had to get rid of it. You know, if you're going into a new paradigm, where are they going to put the meters? Because they just basically just been mugging everyone for 150 years. But I do feel that Tesla might be a bit of a psyop, though. There's not actually any real evidence for that man's existence.
Wow.
Not really. There's no video. You know, there's a 50-year jump in photographs. 1 minute he's handsome, next minute he's this decrepit old man. It's just nothing rings true. I think it's just they want you to think that, you know, he had the free energy technology. You know, he invented it. He was the genius, and nothing went on before him, which I don't think is the case. I think the place he come from, Serbia, still had it going. So yeah, universities. Yeah.
Well, so that's what's really this is what's crazy, man. So these Normans,
okay,
they go back to Rollo. You've heard of Rollo, the Viking chieftain?
Yeah, of course I have. I watch Vikings.
so Rollo, he's in the historical record, and he settles Normandy in northern France, makes a deal with King Charles III around.
Didn't he occupy Paris as well?
Yes, around 911. In the year 911, 911 AD, and he becomes basically the Duke of Normandy by agreement with France, the King of France. So this begins the Normans for about 150 years. They're the military aristocracy. They're the cream of the crop. They're expert mariners, and they're steadily getting reinforcements from their kinfolk in Russia, the Northmen, and Denmark and Sweden. At the same time, there's Viking fleets landing on Ireland. There's Viking fleets establishing dominance across the Atlantic by building whole settlements in what was later known as Vinland and Iceland. And these Northmen were conquering everything. They even sent whole fleets into the Mediterranean, and the Turks left them unopposed. These same Northmen under the subculture Rus, which later became the Russians, absolutely took over Khazaria, and this is where they came into contact with the Jews, and they learned that the Jews had access to these vast commerce empires in the Middle East among the sultanates, the Turks, and that the Jews had access to these libraries in Baghdad and in northern Egypt and the libraries of Islam. And so Jewish entourages became attached to all these Norman invasions, and everywhere the Normans invaded, they left Jews in positions of power over local Christian Englishmen and Irishmen that were conquered. And this is what's left out of your encyclopedias. This is what's left out of a lot of the stuff. You have to go to the specialist literature that I share all the time. I'm going to share a couple books today, but it tells the whole story of how these people played both ends from the middle while the Normans were building a 250-year-old, basically an empire, bringing Europe and the Middle East out of the Dark Ages into the Middle Ages, introducing new technologies, new mariner techniques, new farming techniques, new architectural techniques. And at the same time, they were being financed. They were being financed by all these Jews with a whole bunch of money from the Middle East. And the Jews that worked for the Normans were all kinfolk to the Jews that were in the same positions of power working for the Turks. So we can pretty much figure out who wired up the Crusades, playing both ends from the middle. A whole series of wars between Christians and Muslims, and the main people that are getting all the financial benefits are the peoples who had basically attached themselves to both cultures, and they were just playing both ends from the middle. That's what they were doing. So
yeah, that's pretty much seems how the game is run, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was an economic boom. The Normans brought a huge economic boom. As a matter of fact, your country, the United Kingdom. I know you're Welsh, but your country as a whole, the United Kingdom, has a relic that is absolutely famous, and there's misinformation about it because the Normans didn't give a damn about this type of stuff, but the people that they brought with them actually had William the Conqueror commission a famous book that basically gridded out all of England into like hectares so they could tax
Domesday Book.
That's it, the Domesday Book.
I got it over there.
You say the Domesday Book.
It says on the cover, Domesday. It doesn't say Doomsday. It says Domesday.
I know it says Domesday. And the Domesday Book was actually influenced by the Jews so they could figure out how to better tax the English people and tax them for everything. How many trees they had on their land, how many wells, how many animals, how many structures were built on the land. That's what the Domesday Book actually recorded all these things.
Exactly that. Yeah. That was a sort of census, but it's very detailed. Like you said, it's everything. How many apple trees they got? It's just craziness.
Yeah, nothing has changed. It's the only thing that's changed is all this history. What I'm talking about, this economy that the Normans brought in. What I'm talking about is an economy, man, that was beneficial to Europe. It was an awesome economy. It actually allowed for the construction of these massive cathedrals in these major cities. But what also happened is when the Normans brought in their influence and rule and they took over all these European holdings, they brought with them colleges of Jews who had hundreds and sometimes thousands of scrolls and texts from the Mediterranean and from the Islamic libraries. And this information was brought in, and this is why 100% of all the old alchemical treatises and all these old books that I've shown on my own channel always have Hebrew somewhere in the text, like little watermarks, the Tetragrammaton. It's always hidden somewhere in there showing you.
Yeah, I've seen it 1,000 times.
Yes, thousands of times. There's always Hebrew letters showing you who drafted up these documents. But these are the original colleges, and this is what the Normans did. They didn't just start. The Normans brought the cathedrals, but they didn't just do that. They also founded the universities. All the original universities were under Roman dominance.
Yeah, the first in Europe were in Spain the most, but obviously if they're
well, yeah, you know what retinues were attached to the Moors, the same ones that were attached to the Turks, and the same ones that were attached to the Normans. Yeah, this is something that goes back a long time, but Jewish retinues were attached internationally to almost every group in the ancient world. So the Normans introduced the cathedral architecture. The Normans introduced basically the Jewish scholars and founded the universities all throughout Europe, almost at the same time in the 11 and 1200s.
Would they have been teaching like a fake, because I realized that it was all under intellectual scrutiny, the whole idea in the early days. So whoever won that got to,
this is how, because they founded the universities, you have to understand, in the very beginning, the very first university was founded in 1088, the University of Bologna in Italy. So the University of Oxford was next. When the Normans took in 1066, they invaded. But 30 years later, in 1096, they founded Oxford University, which was a Norman university with Jewish teachers, and their version of history was biblical. all the universities were originally teaching the Old Testament version of the Jew first, the Gentile second. All the universities were originally religiocentric. They later became scientific. That was a later development. Yo, did you know that universities back then actually taught courses on alchemy? All those alchemical treatises that we see and all that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. So, and they taught in, like, you know, in universities like in the 1600s, 369, this sort of, you know, advanced mathematics. They don't do anything like that now.
Yeah, so 1150, during the height of the Norman Empire, the Sorbonne University, which was in Paris, it was founded in 1150, and it was followed real close with the Cambridge University, which is also in your neck of the woods. It was founded. It was founded in 1209, and while these universities were just taking off, they were building Notre Dame in Paris. They were building Chartres Cathedral in France. They were building what is that, Amiens Cathedral in France?
Amiens.
Yeah, and then in 1245, that's when Westminster Abbey, they started building it in 1245. It took almost 270 years to build that.
Yeah, these pictures of a lot of the abbeys, a lot of them are Norman, but they were all over Britain. But apparently they got smashed up in the disillusionment of the abbeys, where they all got burnt by Henry VIII. But that's in the 1500s. Yeah. Litter in the countryside, in Britain, these huge edifices like this, Melrose Abbey, Norman Abbeys, just left to rack and ruin. Just littered the countryside, all ruined. These huge hospital of St. Cross. So they built hospitals as well.
Yeah, so Germany kind of got a late start, but you remember Norman is Viking and French mixed together culturally. That's what the Normans were. So the Gothic took over after the Saxons.
Okay, they're from Saxony.
Gothic and came straight out of Germany. That was a German, basically an art style. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just for architecture, but the Gothic, it took over. It took over from the Romanesque, because Norman architecture is called Romanesque, and it was during the Gothic period that took over in the very late 1300s. I can't find any examples of Gothic architecture that date from.
No, there was a neoclassical revival, but that came much later, where they just tried to replicate this.
The Gothic I'm finding are late 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s.
Yeah.
And the Gothic, that's what the Gothic looks like, and it's basically German influence. Mm-hmm. But what I found interesting in my research is that when I was researching the Gothic, it's during the Gothic architectural period of the 1400s and 1500s that all of a sudden we've got star forts appearing everywhere, and I can't find a single reference on all my old maps. I have a whole bunch of old
I've
books
got a collection of books of these things, like plans for their building, believe it or not, from 1500s, 1600s.
Yeah, that's the date I'm talking about. I can't find anything before the 1400s on star forts.
No, not myself. I did see some sort of classical citation saying that, where I'd attribute it to the classical world, but not really. They just, if you can see them, they're just crazy advanced, aren't they? Look at them.
That's not even a really advanced one. I've seen you show me some pictures of some that are.
I have. Some of them are just, look like engine parts. They're just super interconnected, always with water around them. So you think it was the Normans that far back with these?
No. The Normans had basically become. The Normans lasted for 250 years, but check this out. We're jumping ahead.
They're gone by 1300s because we've invaded France and took it all back with,
we're jumping ahead. Because I'm gonna let me exit real quick. I'm gonna remove this real fast. Put us back on.
There we are. Ha ha ha!
Yeah, I wonder if me having 3 screens is what's doing this. I don't know.
If you click the icon with the 2 people and the big screen thing, because sometimes it clicks off It's happened to me, and it's disappeared.
Oh, okay.
You got it underneath the screen.
I'll
Yeah.
use that next time.
Yeah, man. And that will be on the side then. Like, just like that. Yeah, man.
I see it. Yeah, but I'm not sharing anything right now, so.
No, I stopped sharing. I'm showing star footage.
Star footage?
Yeah.
So check it out. Well, you're anticipating me, because what I have found out is that unless you can show me differently, it looks like the Star Fort architecture did not appear on the historical scene until this massive event, the Long Reset, happened. And that's what I wanted to discuss. I want to show you some things that when we emerged out of the Dark Ages, and it was terrible after the Justinian darkness and what happened. It was the Viking blood from the Northmen and the Russians that basically flooded Europe, flooded the British Isles. They invaded England. Hell, they founded Dublin. You know what I mean? So they.
Well, I'm one of them. My father was from Estonia.
Yeah, it's the Viking blood that came in, and they integrated. They intermarried with the French, and then they forcibly intermarried with all the Angles and Saxons that had already taken over Britain from the Britons, and this created this massive economy and this cathedrals, universities, trade empires, commerce, farming for about 250 to 270 years. The Normans literally created a civilization similar to ours today.
So it's like a little golden era after.
It's like a little golden era.
Yeah, so we had the fall of the Roman Empire. We've got supposed to have fallen into decay for 1,000 years. And then the Normans turn up, sort everything out. That's the narrative.
Yeah, well, what did they call the Norman? The Norman period is called the Holy Roman Empire. They changed it to a religious deal now, and the Normans just rapidly converted to Christianity. It's crazy. So here we have this 250, 270 year period. Everything is going right. They're building universities. They're building cathedrals. Star forts have not yet appeared. Everything is going right, and then all of a sudden, some strange things happen in the sky. And then people start getting sick, and it would blow your mind to see the rosters in these books of all the European cities reporting within 6 months, 250,000 people dead, 77,000 people dead. A small town, 17,582 people dead. The Great Black Death Plague ended the Norman Empire. It ended Europe. It ended the Turks. It ended the Mediterranean. It ended China. It literally killed over 70% of the entire world. And it
restructured everything because all of the elites got taken out. Poorer people that survived go into positions of power.
Let me tell you what the Great Black Death did. I'm going to read you some excerpts from these books. The Jewish control on the economy from the Mediterranean, from Islam, from the Turks, among the Moors, among the Normans, the European countries, over Germany, the Jewish trade empire had 100% control of all merchandise and commerce going from country to country. They had 100% control of all information through all the Jewish courier networks. Jews are the only culture in the world that speak every single language, but they're related by blood. So these Normans, the Jews used the Normans as their front. That's what they did. They're very intelligent. And they used the Normans as their front, and they created intelligence agencies called Knights of Malta and other knight orders, Knights of the Garter. These are intelligence agencies that reported to basically Jewish financiers. And this went on, and by the time of 1340s, the Jews had basically created an empire within an empire. They ruled everybody.
But the Crusades.
Yes, they even wired up all the Crusades. The Jews wired the Muslims and Christians up against each other, and they made
perfect Hungarian dialectic. Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, they did all that. All among the Turks. There's only one person in the later periods that understood this history very well, and this is why he made an enemy of the Pope. He made an enemy of the Jews, and he made an enemy of the Turks. His name is Vlad Dracul. You know him as Dracula. the king of Transylvania.
Yeah,
He knew
and
the
he's
true
an uncle,
history.
great uncle to the King of England.
Yes, he knew the true history, and that's why history has demonized him into a vampire, when actually he was a hero to Transylvania, ruling from Turgle East.
Yeah, I viewed that. Not the monster.
So what broke, this is what's crazy, what broke the Jewish stranglehold on the European, on the Central Asian and the Mediterranean and North African economies, what broke it was the Great Black Death Plague, because a rumor began circulating in Europe. And it was just a rumor. And in the specialist literature, it talks about that rumor. This is specialist literature by men with doctorates in history professors who've gone into the original manuscripts from that time period, and they tell the story of the death toll and how entire sewer areas of cities, they just packed, they didn't have that, the death toll was so high there weren't enough people to bury the dead. So they filled up crypts. They filled whole buildings up with dead bodies and then buried them that way. There was no way to deal with the stench with all the people that were dying. So you have all these places where corpses died standing up because they just shoved them in there. Everybody who was dead and dying from bubonic plague. And because it was so scary. It was so scary to see a village perfectly normal, and one day later, 70% of the people are gone. In some European and Mediterranean cities, there were 10 people alive for every 90 that died. So it was terrible. And so they blamed, they under torture. It's not true. I know you've heard this rumor, and I want to set the matter straight. Under torture, 2 Jewish men were tortured, and they admitted under torture that they had poisoned a well. But it's a cover story, Martin. Jews poisoning wells didn't kill 70% of the world's population from a plague that killed people in the Americas, in China, in India, all throughout the Middle East. It wasn't Jews poisoning wells. They were guilty of other things at the time, but they were financial and they were political. But the Christians thought Jews had poisoned the wells, and that's because news travels slow.
Yeah.
So they're only judging things by what happens in their local environment. They don't know that China has already reported a loss of 70% of their population, and they had shut their borders down. India was being decimated. The Middle East suffered less, and that's because because people live far apart from each other in the desert, in the mountains. Yeah. Afghanistan, Armenia, those areas survive pretty good. Those people in the mountains don't have a lot of contact. But this Black Death Plague started in 1347, and it ended this golden age of the Normans. It ended this golden age of Jewish control over the world's finances and political intrigues. It ended all that. And all throughout Europe, for about a 50-year period, people were killing Jews wherever they came in contact with them.
Yeah, they got expelled from every European country, sometimes multiple times.
Sometimes, a lot of those expulsions happened way before the bubonic plague. They were already guilty of other things before then. But after the bubonic plague, that's when it increased.
Okay, well, they blame rats, okay, bupus, but apparently there's not much evidence that that's actually the case of flea off a rat.
It wasn't. It's I've quoted William Brambley, a military historian.
Yeah.
And he says that at the time, 2 things were going on. One, strange dark figures with unusual masks.
I've got pictures of them, but I can show you.
And then the plague would start killing people. And the other thing was these Zeppelin cigar-shaped things were silently passing over the forest at night, and they were doing 2 things. One, spraying plague mist that got people sick and killed them. Or 2, they opened up their bellies and dumped chopped up, putrid, decayed body parts of forest animals.
Yeah, that's a tactic. I think there's a lot to be said for miasma theory, what they call bad air, poison air. And, with the narrative we're going to be talking about now, there's a lot of evidence that it happens with this certain event, which is Comets.
Okay.
Comets. Yeah, I think
there's no doubt in my mind that you do know at the time most people believed that God was punishing the world.
Yeah.
And he was doing it through the Turks, and he was doing it through the comets. And the comets were causing this is where influenza comes from.
Mm-hmm.
The Spanish word influenza is literally means influence from the stars. Comets are what everybody believed most people believe the Black Death plague came from.
You know, I've been talking about them for years. I've done like a half a dozen videos where I propose, like, you know, with these comets, every time they come through, just resetting the place. You know, if it was a sim and like they just pass through and everything just gets reset, because everything seems to change. You know, a new paradigm every time there's one of these major, what they call celestial events, and whatever are they anyway? You know.
Oh so. yeah. Well, you're gonna open up a can of worms talking about comets here. It's comets to me, they look like some type of object passing through a shell of water. They look very unusual to me.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
well, there's been a big, a few of you, you know, the people in chat will know, there's been a big, massive upheaval in the flat Earth movement itself. But I was thinking about it, sat there earlier, I was thinking, well, why would they feel the need to fake everything to do with NASA space rockets? Why are they doing all of that? You know, the whole effort to it just blows my mind.
So what do you mean? What do you mean there's been an upheaval in flat Earth? Explain that to me.
Well, there's been this, like, you know, ongoing saga and psyop thing going on where these people just showed up out of nowhere, millionaire preachers with a narrative. With an agenda. They've grabbed a few of the flat earthers, took them down to Antarctica, and apparently the 24-hour sun proves that there's supposed to be a ball. Okay. But a lot of the prominent flat earthers, I can name like 5 in the last week, have just turned after 10 years. I've known these people for 10 years. I've met them all.
Yeah.
And it's just can't believe from one staunch standpoint of belief that they would just switcheroony so quickly. I just can't get my head around it. I don't know what exactly is going on. But the flat Earth movement itself has taken a bit of a whacking. But
what about Eric
the
Dubay?
resilient bunch?
What about Eric Dubay?
Eric makes the odd statement concerning, you know, events, and he's got like a pretty good demographic on what is going on and who's who as well. But yeah, it's a shit show. I can't even believe it. I've been in a state of shock over some of the things that I've learned in the last week or two. I've been like, really? Because I've been in it since get-go, since like 2015. I've been in it. But you know,
I don't know. I haven't heard anything other than from you, so I just know that
it's been really bad. I've had like a lot of people coming to me. You know, where do we go? What do we do? You know, it's like, well, we haven't got a model, so they haven't got a model, so snap. You know, I'm going. You know, this. You know, the usual like Max. I remember when Max first came out and said like the Earth's flat, and the day after he said like actually it's a simulation, and then David Icke did exactly the same. It's both a globe and it's both flat, because if it's a simulation, where you put your focus is what exactly it is. So I thought that, you know, it's just an agenda to like try and quieten the flat Earth and move towards that. But they're stifling that too. So what exactly are they? I just don't know. I'm lost at the moment with it all. But I really think that this place is a computer. I think it's Noah's computer, and we're inside it. I really do. I really do. I think that we influence it. I think that, you know, the whole thing is probably subject to edit, man. We're doing it. What if we, you know, creation, they say, is like 5,000 years ago, right? The whole thing just popped into reality. What if it just pops into reality every instant? Like every instant we're manifesting this whole thing, all of us. And that's how it works. Like as long as we are living. And then when we're not living, the reality of the world.
Well, I mean, I could borrow into that. I could borrow into that with the Sky Sim wave that Crow 777.
Oh, I had him on my channel. I had Crow on my channel. Yeah, man, talking about the lunar
I heard
wave.
He's changed his mind. It's not a lunar wave. It's a whole sky wave, which was my position. Yeah. When I first saw it, that was my position. It has to be the whole sky. So it's I'm glad he's making that assessment now. But Yeah,
Yeah, like,
it would be a refresh of the sim. I mean, it's that's what movement is. I mean, if this is
I
all
don't know.
really
I just
pixelated,
convinced myself. Maybe it's a false memory that I've given myself, but I vaguely remember something happening, like in my childhood. Something with the sky, something happens, and then everything's like back to normal. Hey ho, I'm with the show. But it's like deep down in my primal being, I
yeah,
remember something happening, and then somebody brought it up to me in San Diego, and when he said it, I was like, I had a weird buzz. I was like, shit, I think I can remember. That, like, you know, maybe these edits that we get, like, you know, a memory wipe, start over, you know, fresh, you know, paradigm, and then hey ho, on with the show, you know. This is why I keep getting these niggly feelings all the time, Jason. I can't put my finger on it really, but something to do with the whole narrative of history has bugged me ceaselessly. That's why I've been doing it day and night for like 8 years.
right.
Like a thorn in my side. And, you know, sometimes I think it's on the tip of my tongue and I'm going to say it and I'm going to speak it out, and those words will just break the entire fucking world. That's what I think. If I get that sentence in the right
Matrix, yeah, in the Matrix movie, he said, it's like a splinter in your mind.
Oh, he did say that. He did say that. Yeah. So
That
I got
crazy.
that. I got that thing going on.
So so check this out. So you just told me that someone in a power in someone with money invited some influencers that push flat Earth.
Asked me to go
into Antarctica.
Yeah, asked me to go via Campbell. He didn't come directly to me. For some reason, he went to Campbell's channel. Campbell ain't even a flat Earth fucking channel. I don't know what went on there.
I don't know. I haven't really had. I'm gonna tell you now. I've backed away from Campbell. When I saw Tartarian Truth as a guest on his channel, that's enough for me. You know what I mean?
He's gone quiet. He have.
Huh?
He's gone quiet.
Who has?
Yeah. So.
Who, Tartarian Truth?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, he's a tiny hat agent. I've been telling everybody he's a tiny hat agent, but
maybe he's actually an Arab pretending to be a tiny hat.
No, I've seen his face, dude.
No, I know he's from Columbus, Ohio, and the place is like literally a Jewish city, so I'm aware of that.
Yeah, I'm not. He's tiny hat.
Like he looks into everyone else. People might.
Well, I'm going to tell you why he disappeared, because Michelle Gibson said his real name and where he really lives on YouTube. She doxed the shit out of him.
Did she? I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
I don't care about. I don't even care about.
I don't either. It's like, you know, we're all put in this place. We're all here at the exactly same moment in time right now. To me, I just think everyone would just live their best lives and just get on with it, you know. But
that's really interesting about Antarctica, though, because
yeah, man. I got asked. I wouldn't go.
Hell no, I wouldn't go. You might never come back.
There's been like all these anomalies around it for some reason. They were faking shit, and everyone's like, well, if it's all so straightforward, why are you doing that? And then lying as well, lying about stuff. So it's all really, really weird. And they did, it's like underlying, you know, so you'll never trust the narrative. So they wanted it to fail, which is a classic business model. Some of them, you know, they are set up to fail, like rock and roll industry set people up to fail. There's still money. So this guy, and then all of these top names in flat Earth are just like, you know, just basically just fucking turncoated. It's just
so anytime I come in contact with information like that, where several people have now flipped from what they have formerly been saying for a long time, and there's no direct evidence, the community is left baffled because they don't see the evidence you saw to make you flip like that. So let me tell you what that sounds like to me, because essentially we're just dealing with humans. We're just dealing with people. So if a paradigm was becoming such a threat, it's nothing. These people have unlimited finances. It's nothing for them to say, hey, you know what? Oh, check this out. We really appreciate what you're doing. We've looked at your demographics. We've looked at your income. We've looked at all this, and we know it's going to take you 10 years to make this certain amount of money right here doing what you do. And that's if you don't get kicked off YouTube, if you don't piss somebody off, if you don't get sued. This is what you're going to get. This is what you're looking at. It's going to take you about 10 years to get that, assuming you can hold people's attention. I tell you what, we'll give you that in a check today if you'll just publicly renounce what you've been pushing for so long. And we'll even let you save face by claiming We took you to Antarctica so you could actually see that there's a sun going around when they never even went. They've never even been there. They never filmed a fucking thing. And it's all bullshit. It's so easy to set something else like that. It just takes money. All it takes is a bank account, and you can make the public believe anything in the world. This is why the tenet of my channel is I don't want to tell you something. I want to show it to you, because this is so easy, Martin. It's so easy to create. It's so easy to get 3 or 4 guys who've been pushing flat earth for all this time to go ahead and say that they saw something from personal experience, and behind the scenes they took that money. It's so easy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, but they've been there since the get-go, so they've been lying since the get-go. Is the sinister thing about it, you know?
Man, me, you already know me. You already know me. I'm vocal, and I'm highly suspicious. Because I know what it takes. I know what it takes to succeed on YouTube. I know what it takes. You know what it takes. You know how many hours? I know you spend hours preparing for some of your videos, just like I do, man. Yeah, you can't just turn a video on and do a badass 3-hour presentation.
No, man. It's thinking about it all day and night, mate.
Yeah, this is what we do. Takes a lot of work. So when I see somebody like My Lunch Break, who popped up in 2022, all of a sudden just get all this traction, so I ignore him, because I'm thinking, oh man, good, you're doing what you're living the American dream. Good for you. But then I start hearing what he's talking about. Then I start hearing it. I was like, wait a minute, I need to go check these videos out. And I go look at these videos, and I'm hearing nothing but Bolshevik communist crap being pushed on people in the form of, what if this is the real truth? What if this really happened? I hear people being jacked for their pedigree, the things that they should be prideful about the history of their people, European people of European descent, Mediterranean descent, all that. And I'm hearing all this like, oh no, this is not good. It's toxic. And then I'm not feeling it, man. He's not the only one. I never watched
it, but I dig what you're saying.
Yeah, he's not the only one, bro. I got a lot of them on my radar, man. And it kind of seems to me that ChatGPT is being used to harvest a lot of people's material. Then they'll mix it up using AI, and so it can't be traced as to whose material they're using, you know. And then it just rehab. This is the new YouTube. The new YouTube.
I'm aware. I'm aware. I live it. I'm a bitch to the algorithm. I had an interesting thing happen yesterday on Facebook. There was a woman who'd done a reel, and she's complaining. She's saying, people are stealing my content. Okay. She's saying it's really dishonest that people don't give me credit, and stealing my content is wrong. Yeah. And the video was about like church windows and antiquity. So that made me laugh.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's crazy. Yeah, it is crazy. You know what?
I see it all over TikTok, and it's all stuff out of my head, Jason. Yeah, millions of views. These young guys, you know, getting like talking about, you know, fucking unbelievable. It's everywhere. I don't see TikTok, mate. Honestly,
I see it on Twitter.
Twitter as well, same. And
I see all these new Tartaria, new alt history channels pop up, and you're just saying the same things that everybody else has been saying the past 10, 15 years on social media, and you're just putting your spin on it. But my issue is, because I've attacked some of those people that have stolen your shit. I'm like, I'm just not. If you're not willing to give credit where it's due, then you need to be willing
John Levy's
to be called out on it.
He's giving me shouts. John Levy, he's a really lovely guy. Really, he's giving me shouts. Honestly, he hasn't forgotten. I like John Levy.
Yeah,
but, you know, everyone's.
I'm looking at one of his books right now on the 1800s, the paper mache cities of the
expositions.
The expositions, the paper mache cities.
Okay, well, that's a big subject. That was the one that, like, Wood and Nichols and Ewar went into attack. There's like photographs out there. I've got a collection of photographs of them being built, but you know, a lot of people say that they're proof of an older civilization, but there are some photographs of, say, the Columbian Exposition being constructed off.
Yeah, I know. It's
So I don't know. Listen, I'm keeping an open mind. You know, I've just seen too many weird clues and too much. You know, I've been driven to too many things. But there's that aspect. If you search, you will find it. So you know, I keep searching. I keep finding these things. Anyway, my inquiry continues. I've not made my mind's not made up about.
Yeah, man. Hey, we're all a work in progress. Hey, the pictures you're talking about from 1893. You're talking about when they were making the fake facades. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, not. Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I've been trying to tell people some of those buildings are legit. They really built them then. And
well, in the case of intellectual
buildings,
honesty, I guess I have to show if I can.
Oh, you got some pictures? Yes, and a lot of those buildings were like MGM studios. They're just facades.
Okay, yeah. Can you see these pictures on here right now?
Yes, I see it.
Well, these when they came out, people were saying, "Oh, they look photoshoppy as fuck to me."
Oh, hold on. We got. They're not seeing what we're seeing. Let me.
It's happening again. Okay.
Let me go to the big screen. Hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna remove, do that. Please.
I'm gonna remove us. There we go.
Okay, brace yourselves.
Man, something's not right here. Hold on, man. I'm trying to figure out why. I'm gonna remove me so you.
Okay. Will that work? Well, there's only one way to see, isn't it? Okay. Okay, can you see that, guys? No, it's a black screen again, actually, Jason. No, that's not worked. That is not worked. Not worked. Yeah, it was up. Oh, good. Okay. Fucking. Oh no, it was up, Jason. It was up. Yeah, let's say yes.
I know.
It was just black. I was seeing black.
I know you took it off before I could do anything.
Oh right. Should I try again now?
Yeah, go ahead and bring it in.
Okay, man.
All right, so.
You see that, guys?
Not yet. Hold on. Okay, don't do anything. Let me mess with these settings.
I'm not. Nope, just a black screen on that one.
I don't understand. Dude, this is so bizarre.
Just take us off a minute then.
Okay, I'm going to take us off.
And then I can do it. Chicago. The administrative building was supposed to cost almost $500,000, $450,000, and there is what it looks like. So you see these beautiful buildings.
Yeah. Hey, I got us on the side too, so they can see us too.
Oh, I can see that. That's awesome. So it's given the thought to, because the thing with the whole, my whole narrative is this ideal of there being this, beautiful golden culture of free energy and, just a higher awareness, people living in a higher state of consciousness, etc., to meet the buildings. But
there's no doubt, Martin, there is no doubt that in the 1800s, like Reichenbach in the early 20th, 19th century or 20th century, listen, there's no doubt new technologies were coming out that were threatening the infrastructure that was just being laid out by Rockefeller and Carnegie.
100%.
And these new technologies, they weren't going to let that shit happen. And the world's fairs were causing problems for the Rockefellers and the Carnegies, man, because in the world's fairs, all these people were coming from other countries, and they were sharing these new technological innovations and getting financial backing from different rich people, and that was going to be a severe problem to the new oil and gas and AC instead of DC alternating current. So yeah, man, it's the world's fairs. I think 1904 was the last big one.
Okay, so the argument is that they're already there. Okay, and they're just being tarted up. But, is that really the case in these? I'm not sure, because you can see the whole superstructure.
Yeah.
And what are they made of? Now, I can't say this for all expositions, but apparently 1892. What do you think?
Looks like scaffolding to me.
This is.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, was it plaster of Paris?
Well, yeah, it's not stone, is it? It's just cast to make it look like it's stone. But again, it's there. But well, use your own judgment in things. From that to that, get millions of people in. And if they are made with these, you know, inferior materials. Now look at this, right, Jason? Can you see underneath here?
Yes. Is that those are wooden? Those are wooden planks, vertical planks right there on the edge of that water.
Well, what they are is they've taken the caps off the bottom of the columns.
Yeah.
Because the last thing to go down is the floor, isn't it?
Yes.
Because you don't like lay the floor and traipse across
it. That's what I said in my video. The columns were hollow and a lot of them were wooden on the inside.
Well, there's nothing in them. There's a bigger one here. I think I got a picture of somewhere. So yeah, the people went nuts. Saying it's photoshoppy as shit, but if I don't know, these look pretty clear. These three cats here. Oh, right. So these bottoms here are a casing along the bottom of the column. So they've taken them, they've removed them to lay the screed.
Yep.
So what do you think?
Yeah, I've been telling my community, man. I released those 2 videos in the 1800s. I have actual magazines from the 1851 that talk about the first World's Fair in the United States.
Yeah, I've got shit.
1851, and in these original magazines I shared, there's excitement about all the ships coming in from different countries that had all these crews that were going to build the German part of the expedition, the Venetian part, the Italian part, the Romanesque part. There's even a Norman expedition. All these ships were coming in to build their own parts of the exposition, and they were expecting 250,000 people to be in attendance within the 6 months that the exposition was going to be open.
So, like, really good at imitating shit then, if that's the case.
It all looks very impressive.
Very, very impressive. That's the point. Anyway. It's hard to decide about anything in this place. Right, what do you want to see next then, Jason? Should we have a look at the old comets and plagues?
I'll tell you what, why don't you show comets, and I'm gonna read from this 300-year-old book about what happened in 1347 that killed that 250-year-old golden age, man.
I got a picture of that comet.
Do you?
Yeah, I got a comet book with every year of comets since like about, I don't know, first millennium AD. So, okay, can you see that now, guys? Looking good.
Oh, it's all working, man. We're on the side. We're on the side.
Okay. So yeah, I've seen a comet.
No, it's not working. No, they're not seeing nothing, man. Shit.
Fucking.
How is it? Let me look. I'm gonna do the same thing I did last time. I'm gonna exit us both out.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Monica.
They can see it.
Okay. And instances of multiple comets, if you like, coming down. There's been instances in America. There was hundreds of thousands that came down.
Yeah, 1833. I know that 1833 was the largest meteoric shower in the history of recorded history.
Yeah, wasn't that just insane? Where it's just like, so yeah, they're harbingers, aren't they? People, expect to see a comet, so they expect to be some sort of die-offs. This is a clue, I think. Look at that there, a comet which says cheap labor on it.
It even's got a face on it, yeah.
It's because that's what it brings. That punch of the comet brings cheap labor. Isn't it? Yeah, they nail it there. And it seems to be, they come really close, apparently, because in this image, you can see that it's illuminating this building.
Yeah. Yeah. That comet's about to hit the ground.
And this sort of behavior in 1573, everyone just absolutely turning into carnage.
Damn, they're chopping each other up. Oh, they're starving. They're eating. Okay.
They are starving, and
It's a
the buildings are on fire. Something really, really, really bad's happening in this period.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. There's the phoenix there, and everything under the sun underneath it. So his wings, you've got the plasma bursting out there.
That's crazy.
And the earthly plane. And all the alchemical wisdom. Everything's encoded in the alchemy. It really is. About the way consciousness actually is. So yeah, going in different directions. So that comet that was supposed to go on over in 1811, 1812, the Devil's Comet, they called it, was supposed to have broken off in two. It's just like, that's what it says in the comic book.
That sounds like Comet Bela in the 1800s. It was
Comet Bela was in 1871.
Yeah, it broke into two comets.
But that was supposed to be a major comet event, wasn't it?
Wow.
As well. So it's funny how they depict them as swords and stuff, going in different directions. Antiquity seems to be, affected by it, and this one seems to be a clock. I did sort of suggest years ago when I first found it that it was a clock telling you the time of when the comet was going to arrive. There's actually alchemical depictions called melancholy, where she sits like this angel, just watching the comet, waiting for it. And that's what, the Vatican got a telescope called Lucifer, and that's all they do with Lucifer, is to watch out for comets. And in the past as well, people used to get paid big money if they spotted a comet early and told everybody. You know this
really?
One, Jason, don't you?
Oh, I know that's 1561. Or is that 1566?
I've got the one instance that was in not the Nuremberg instance. I've got the one from Riga in Latvia.
That's 1566. Yeah, because the Nuremberg one. Book. Yeah, the Nuremberg was 1561.
So these comets, they tend to give them names. There's one there, Barbatus or Criminus or whatever, and what they think is the shape, some sort of domage going on. But yeah, I've got actually a painting behind my green screen that's got it's an alchemical depiction called Elements from the 1700s, and it shows you comets as swords or destroyers, But look, it seems to be affecting everything by its going over. There's so many depictions which show this and the spotting of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and like you said, it looks like literally like there's a hole in the sky and the light shining through from behind.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? And Tunguska, they said it was a fireball, but they didn't get there for 25 years after 1909, I think it was. But they said that it was a big explosion in history.
Well, I have I read a book on Tunguska, and I shared it with my community, and it has original reports from Russia where locals said that it changed trajectory twice before it went over Tunguska and detonated.
Yeah, the suggestions in some of my books go from everything from an antimatter blast to...
Yeah.
But doesn't it? It looks like there's a hole and then it's just the light shining through. But they started, when I looked into them in the first went into comets, the narrative on Wikipedia was they were big dirty snowballs with millions of miles long tails. But if you Wikipedia them now, they've completely changed the narrative.
They did? They changed it?
Yeah, they're saying they're plasma effects. They say that
so they're no longer
dirty,
saying
great
that
big
it's dirty ice.
No.
Wow.
Yeah,
do you have any idea how many other theories are attached to the dirty snowball shit?
Oh God, yeah. Well, there's the KT impact. Killed all the dinosaurs. Apparently.
Yeah, that's how they claim the layer of iridium all over the world is from the KT boundary.
No, they do say that. My son tells me about that. There's that one meteor storm that was recorded.
You know what's unique about this picture, Martin?
Yeah.
This is 1833, which is exactly 69 years after astronomer Hoffman saw the Phoenix in 1764, and it's 69 years before 1902.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely a marker date, 1902. I don't think. I keep an eye on that. I do. I keep an eye on that date. So yeah, comets looking like strange objects over. That's a star thought there.
It is weird.
But yeah, I've got. I'll link it up in the chat here shortly for people to have a look at. But this is a picture of 1811. Okay, the Devil's Comet.
Oh, the new right before the new Madrid quake.
Exactly, but also when that second comet, when the comet split off, it went over Europe as well. When all of that stuff's going down with Napoleon, which seems to be attached to some sort of depopulation, and it seems to be attached to like something going on with the air. Because I found a document a week ago or so, and I posted it, where the population of Rome at 1811 had been reduced by 100,000 people in the space of 22 years. So they'd had a depopulation, but Napoleon had been there around that time. Yeah. I'm wondering if they're using some sort of chemical weapons. But this is an irony here. This picture is showing you the comet, and everyone's sort of alarmed. Oh my God, it's the comet. And this guy, he's not worried two bits. He's just laughing at him, like he's got some sort of foreknowledge as to what these things really are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping a lookout. And if you're looking at all of the alchemical depictions, they're all related with comets and Masonic depictions. Comet of 1744, the Great Comet, they call this one. It's supposed to have been this booklet, these depictions here. They give you the dates. I got it here. I can link people up the dates for all of the comets.
That's pretty cool.
Right away back from the last 1,000 years, but none of them look like comets. Some of them look like this. Why they are? Look, they're all off to the church. It looks like they're praying, maybe freaking out because this thing's turned up. Doesn't really look very comety, does it? It looks more like a metal object.
Yeah, well, I told my community a couple of weeks ago in one of my videos, man, that the word comet is just liberally used through all these old medieval and Renaissance era texts just to describe anything unusual that wasn't the sun or the moon in the sky.
Well, it's Latin. It's cometh. Cometh. It's cometh. It's something come. Something arrived. Two sun narrative there. And this just strange blanket of whatever it is that covers the sky. Very, very strange phenomena indeed. Volcanicity. Apparently comets set off volcanoes. Who knew? 3 suns and fire pots. They show you them in fire pots. And that's not just one comet, is it? That's what?
Looks like they're going in all different directions.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that shouldn't happen in the heliocentric model. It should be splitting off in the. If it's supposed to be like, planetary. But why are they showing like emblems? It's just like, Yeah,
those just frames of reference. No, they didn't know what they were looking at.
Yeah, what they thought it looked like, because that's what I mean. Yeah, frame of reference, exactly. But yeah, some of them look like a monolith. I thought was unusual. Look at that thing, a fiery monolith. Just nuts. And a fiery ball, which I've talked about for years. Some sort of resetting thing. I propose like comets are like shot in laterally from elsewhere by other people. That's what I proposed. And when they go through, they reset or refresh, if you like. There's a refresh that goes through. And all the people seem to know about it as well. Some of them in the shape of crosses. But these multiple bodies of light in the sky. I'm not sure what to make of all of that. Yeah, endless amounts of these I've got right the way through. Just strange.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like, what the hell are they? Frame of reference? What? Exactly, a big rod on fire. So they're not really singing like, that they're all like, I get it's frame of reference, but just these look like comets. The other ones look like more like tech to me. And they're always in this chem cloud, all of them. And some of them get pretty low. But, excuse me, where is it? And the plague itself, I knew you'd mentioned the Justinian. That was pretty apocalyptic. But bring out your dead. Can you imagine though?
Man, they listen from the historical accounts we have. What do you do? What do you do when you have a population? Your city has 350,000 people. You're a major European city, but 200,000 people are dead in a 90-day period. What do? You don't have the manpower to deal with this. They sealed up whole buildings, sewers, basements, cellars. They just filled them with the bodies of the dead and sealed them up and then buried those buildings and then turned around and built on top of them.
Wow. They found a plague pit in London a few years ago. These are these plague doctors with these droogie masks that are supposed to be attributed to spraying poison gas and stuff. But, you know, that's a very unusual alchemical picture.
Yeah, it is.
Seems some sort of deal going on. Usually is. And, you know, the instance that, the angels have got something to do with it. An angel flies over with its sword, and then everybody underneath is slayed by the plague. Funny that, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah. And which one's this? I'm not sure if this is in Italy. But, yeah. If you imagine this as a reality, this is truly Armageddon if this was the case. And I got so many depictions showing that, you know, it actually was the case. Journals of the Plague, which is really interesting because he visited London and there was a comet that was a major comet of 1664. And then that very year was when the plague showed up in London, right? But he visited it in 1865, reported on the plague in London. 1 year later, 1666, the whole of London is torched, putting an end to the plague.
Yep.
In the narrative. Interesting date as well, 1666, don't you think? So there they are, the droogie doctors.
Listen, the burning of London in 1066 when the Normans invaded and brought all the tiny hats with them is no different than burning LA. It's no different than burning Lahaina. You know what I mean? They used the technology at the time so they could come in and lay down a whole new infrastructure with the tiny hats coming in and funding all the new building.
I was you've read quite a bit of Nostradamus, I'm aware. He was a doctor in the Black Death and he treated people.
Yes, he was.
Rose water. He didn't get affected himself, and he said he had great results by dabbing rose water on bupas and these things. Yeah.
At university, they hated him because he was successful. You're right.
Yeah. I went to the town when I was in Emergence, where he was from, and there was just nobody give a shit. It was just like a footnote. And I was like, I've got 2 books in the house on him. He's like mega famous. But I tell you what, nobody cared there. Let me tell you.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. It's to the outsider, Michael del Nostradamus is like, we've all heard about him. He's the great prophet and all that. But you know what? In France, the French people are already very well educated on his history, and there's a lot of animosity there. But it's 100% known that he was Jewish.
Well, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I found something very interesting yesterday. That Lady Di, you know, the British princess, her name was Goldstein. I couldn't even believe it, and all of her family, and not only that, the ones that are in now, they're really I don't even want to go there, but yeah. So this is an interesting one. You've probably seen this. This is I can share this with the gang. It's a discourse in comets, but this comet year, Martis comet, really interesting, and it was the first comet or blazing star of November and December, 1664. So that was right before, the plague. And look, it says Aldebaran. That
Aldebaran, yeah. It's one of the 4 royal stars.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a bit of a mysticism surrounding that, isn't there? Like it only shows up in certain times.
The other one says Pleiades on the far right.
Oh, it does. How many stars there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I can see 6 or 7 of the Pleiades when I look up. But good camera, you can see a few more. There's a lot of stars in the Pleiades. So yeah, this is it gives you like year to year of all of the comets. It's a beautiful little book. But I got another book to go with it, which does sort of suggest that it affects human beings. 1665, causing, threatening the world with famine, plague, and wars. Princes, death to kingdoms, many crosses to all elites, inevitable losses. Oh, shit. To herdsmen, rot to plowmen, hapless seasons. So affecting the seasons in the weather.
Oh, that's not elites. That's estates. Many.
Oh, right. Oh,
yeah, many crosses to all estates. Many people died. Yeah.
Yeah, because the F is an S in Old English. And to sailors, see the Y? Sailors, storms, and cities, civil treasons.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, so apparently there's, like, according to this book, like massive upheaval when these things show up. And there's a lot of cases as well with this book of historical links to blazing stars.
That's a really nice book, 1665.
Yeah, I'll link this up in the chat right now. Yeah, 1665. And I got loads of clues from this book concerning plagues and depopulations, actually.
Man, I'll check that book out. I like that.
Yeah, you've got this one, haven't you? Two Wonderful Phenomena.
Oh, yeah, I've got that. I showed it on my channel 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, in Riga. That's right, yeah. Flying coffins, fiery rods, 3 deadheads, serpent pyramid. And the second was in Kirchberg, and it was
crazy.
1763. 48 hours of verminant lightning and thunderclaps. 2 days solid of thunderclaps.
It was published in 1764, Phoenix year.
Yeah, exactly. What do you know about the year 1776?
Talking about when United States declared its independence?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have anything for as far as unusual phenomena for that year that I
looked as well, but it keeps coming up all the time, and I'm just wondering if there was anything behind it.
No, it is a golden proportion number. It's 444 times 4, but I don't know. I don't know if there's any special property. It's like 888 times 2. I don't know. 1776 in the calendar, I can't remember anything significant happening on that, except for that's the official founding date of the Bavarian Illuminati, which later that 1776 is their founding date.
Yeah. And I'll link this book up as well. This is basically that book which shows you the dates of each comet. The 1618. Yeah, and it goes through observations, 1554, and it goes right the way back to earlier comets as well. 15. So yeah, whoever chronologized these, I don't know. They must be just tripping to be pictures like this. I don't know what's going on here. So, have you seen these, Jason? This is interesting. You went to the Grand Canyon, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Twice.
So, like they said with Texas Wall, that it's natural geology. They're saying that with this as well, that it's just like chunks that are just perfect squares and they just fall away. So is the nature of entropy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go there and actually look at it. It looks pretty.
Yeah, well, I thought the same as well. If they didn't have some, like these shots, I was very doubtful when I first seen them. But I've got a load of photographs of like buildings in the walls of the Grand Canyon. But yeah, okay. It looks like the sites you see in Lebanon, when they got they're getting ready. But yeah.
Oh yeah, Baalbek.
Yeah, exactly that. And then huge stones. So, there's the argument that this is a natural geological feature, and then these things are carving in perfect squares. But what would that prove? That there was some sort of mining? You see a window there? So there's a lot of people.
That is crazy, because I was at the Grand Canyon and I used my my cell phone, and I had a Galaxy S24 Ultra with a megapixel camera, and I just blew up a section of the wall, and I did a video on YouTube and showed a massive cave entrance toward the bottom of the Grand Canyon. You couldn't even see it with the naked eye. I found it by blowing up pictures that I took from the Grand Canyon observation.
Yeah, there's like a glass platform or something you got to stand on. You didn't really like it, did you?
Yeah, that's one
Loads
of the
people
three. That's
stood
one of
on
the
it.
three areas I went to. I went to that sky deck.
Yeah, sky deck. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Standing on that would be a bit freaky, but yeah.
I'm not a fan.
I didn't see this. We went past it, but we went over the Rio Grande. That was pretty impressive, gashing the earth. I thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went over it. There's a bridge that goes over it, but look at that thing, though. It's just mental, isn't it?
Well, the problem I have with the whole narrative on the Grand Canyon is that to me, it looks very recent because it doesn't have the three observation areas that I saw. It has no rubble, and you would think if it's been there for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, the side storms alone would knock the side. There would be a massive amount of boulders and detritus at the bottom, just stacked up, and it's not there.
Great.
It's like an empty valley all the way down.
Yeah. There was a mini canyon that happened after the eruption of Mount St. Helens. There's just like it happened in an instant, and it looked like a mini Grand Canyon. Yeah. So, but there's no like volcanicity in this area, I don't think. Anyway, so there's Albert Einstein in New Mexico. Look, with the native Navajo and his peace pipe. You know what he was doing out there? Interesting.
I'll never forget when we went to that national monument.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of looking at this.
You walked right up to that state trooper and hugged her. She looked shocked. Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, it's not really a thing you do in like conservative America. You just grab people and hug them, is it?
This woman is working. She's fully armed. And she's there to protect the site and watch for any type of terrorist activity because it's a national monument. And here you are holding her arms down, hugging her. And
I did exactly the same in Austin with the state trooper. I was like, "Can I have a photograph with you?" And like, literally got a hug off this massive state trooper. Yeah. And it was really, really nice. You know, from what I hear, you know, they're supposed to be watch out for them. They're dangerous.
Yeah, she was really nice. We had her surrounded, and it looked like you were attacking her.
She just doesn't understand. That's all it was. I was giving her love.
No, she understood after that because we had bought you that little toy helmet in that vest, and you put that little toy helmet in that vest on. Remember that?
Yeah, like the one out of Winnie the Pooh. What's the guy who is the forest?
I can't remember. But after that, yeah, you were deemed not a threat after that.
Yeah, so I saw a rattlesnake. Saw my first ever rattlesnake.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I do live on the edge. Epinephrine. Thank you for that.
Yeah, he does. Well, hey, look, I'm going to show this real quick. So 250 years, there's like a golden age. Technology. Cathedrals are very impressive. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show that first before I go into this plague. I want to address some of this plague stuff because it literally set us back because once the plague started, Martin, it didn't stop. You know, the plague lasted for centuries.
Yeah, sure. It phased out and then it just shows up again all of a sudden out of nowhere.
It's like the long reset. Every time a kingdom or a nation is just starting to build itself back up, the plague comes again.
Wiped out, decimated.
For 300 years, man, we suffered this. And it wasn't just Europe, the Middle East too. It just kept knocking us back. So I'm going to show these pictures. Let me share my screen real quick, see if we don't have any problems. Let's see.
But yeah, Europe was supposed to be decimated. They say I bet it was 3/4.
Yeah, so when you this is Romanesque architecture.
Yep.
So it's Norman. This is what the Normans introduced. It's this Romanesque architecture that a lot of people are showing and trying to claim, you know, it's anomalous and all that. It was technologically advanced for the time, and yeah, we may not be able to replicate it today because these dudes were artisans. This is what they did, and it took them centuries to build some of these structures. But this was 11th and 12th century, and it's really some impressive. You've seen a lot of these pictures. This is Norman right here. This right here is Norman architecture.
Oh, beautiful! Yeah.
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Why is it not letting me show you? I don't know why it's not letting me click on to the next.
I know what you mean.
It's weird. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
vaulted
Norman.
ceilings.
This right here is Norman architecture from 800 and 900 years ago.
It's beautiful. Oh, I've seen many examples of that cathedrals.
These are Norman arches.
Yeah, Wells Cathedral is amazing. You should see that place. Got figure 8 arches, just crazy big, crazy
This
big.
is all. This is Norman Christian art.
Oh, give us a look.
This is all Norman right here.
Yeah, they got not too much on the decoration, have they? The Normans.
No, the Normans were the architects. Really, it's the church officials that come in and would do the paintings and all that.
Yeah, the sacred geometry in them ceilings. Oh, is that the Tower of London?
I don't know. It's Norman.
I think so.
This is in my Norman file.
Yeah, that's the Tower of London's. That looks like Salisbury Cathedral. Can't be though. I think it is. You know.
These are the Normans. Man, they were builders. They knew how to build shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I got loads of Norman shit all over my city. You know.
Yeah, you're in Wales. Yeah, some of those aren't very clear.
Yeah, but they got sacred geometry in them. So
I also want to show this because this is very controversial. But listen, I made my case. I did a very, very comprehensive video to show that the Shroud of Turin is not Jesus, and that all the evidence for the Shroud of Turin points to the fact that it is the interment shroud of a Norman knight. The Shroud of Turin.
He looks a bit of a Norman, doesn't he?
Well, sure. Let's look at a Norman.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Oh, that's sort of Vikings, isn't it?
Yeah, man. It's a Norman knight. I have a whole video on the Turin Shroud, and I give all the textual, traditional, all the situational, and even scientific evidence showing that the Shroud of Turin cannot possibly date to the time of Jesus, and that all the historical evidence points, because the shroud was known for centuries, and all the historical evidence is it came from the Middle East in the Crusades, and it was a Norman knight who died in the Middle East, and his body was brought back to Normandy to be buried, and that's where the shroud was found. It was found in a tomb in France,
and it was burnt and damaged in a medieval fire and repaired by nuns.
Absolutely. So we are going to go to. Well, I'm losing everything now. I had this document all prepared, and now I'm sharing all these things. I just lost it. Here it is. Let me get back into it. You know how PDFs are.
Oh, I do indeed.
All you have to do is X out a PDF, and it'll take you right back to the exact page you're on. So
okay, we're good.
This is a 300-year-old book of chronology, and this is 1347. This is the final year of the 250-year empire of the Normans, dude, the Golden Age. When this plague began, the international Jewish exilarchy was in full control of the economies of the Middle East, the economies of Europe, transatlantic, all that. They were in control of all that when this plague hit. This plague didn't just end a golden age period of the Normans and Islam and all that. It literally ended the entire financial stranglehold of the Jews over both of these cultures. This is let's see. According to this 300-year-old text, it says, "We now come to the third general plague after our Savior, which certainly was the greatest, most universal and mortal, Noah's flood excepted, that ever ravaged this globe." So they believed in a globe 300 years ago.
Yeah, man.
It never had a parallel before nor since. And we may observe that we have a more particular history of it than any that preceded it. For as it visited every inhabited corner of the earth, so every nation or people that understood letters kept records of it. as it was the most universal and mortal, so it was most remarkable for the previous warnings given of its coming, for it surprised not an unwarned world. Mankind had sufficient notices of its approach from all the elements, as well from the specialty of its rise. It was observable that though it was so general, yet neither emperor, king, prince, lord, governor, nor any prime magistrate of any nation died of it. But as the clergy seemed to be the principal procurers of it by their licentiousness, so they and the herd of the vulgar, deluded and drawn into practical, atheism, by their example, were the greatest sufferers. So the church suffered from the plague greatly.
Wow.
This scourge was foretold in the year 1316 or 1317 by one Robert, a Jacobine friar, that God would avenge the simony, sloth, luxury, lust, and covetousness of the clergy shortly. Now remember, in historical context, what had just happened? Europe was really mad at Rome.
Yeah.
Because what did they do? They just exterminated the Waldenses, the Cathars, and they basically ended the last orders of the Gnostics. And the only way they could do it was by killing every man, woman, and child of the Cathars and the Gnostics. So therefore, Rome could secure its own version of Christianity, as opposed to the Gnostic version of Christianity, that Jesus was a literary masterpiece and not an actual historical figure.
Yeah.
So this is what they had just done. They had just done this in the last 50, 60 years before this dude prophesied that the church was going to bring a plague upon the whole world.
Wow.
So anyway, this goes on. I don't want to read all this, but look, here's 12,444,334 people died here. This is just one area.
Mountains. Wow.
Dude, it talks about, here's Ireland, Dublin, all the signs that were seen. It gives lists of cities and how many they lost in the first 90 days. It is crazy. This is the largest entry. It talks about, here's Scythia,
Yeah,
India,
Scythians. Well, they were Jewish descendants.
There's Tartaria, Arabia. Everything is wiped out. The Tartarians are wiped out. The Turks, the Syrians, the Palestinians, the Persians, Egyptians, the Ethiopians, Africans, parts of Tunis, of Tripoli, the Levant, Mesopotamia, Chaldea, Cyprus. Rhodes. I don't know what Gandhi is. But anyway, Europe. Yeah, it's going through here. By September 1347, the entire world was getting killed off in this plague.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, man. In the eastern parts died in 1 year, 23,840,000.
What?
Yeah, in Florence died in 1 year, 60,000. In Germany died 12,400,000 and whatever that number. They don't put commas in numbers back then.
Must have took them a bit of time to get after, the plague.
1 million. Yeah, it's 1,244,000 people died in Germany.
That's nuts.
So this is the largest entry in the entire book of all the disasters. And what's interesting, Martin, the reason I wanted to share this with the community was we don't have a lot of mentions of diseases and plagues prior to this. This Great Black Death, they're all isolated incidents in small communities. But the Great Black Death of 1347 literally began 300 years of the plague popping up everywhere and keeping humanity down for 3 centuries until the Renaissance.
Wow.
This just goes on. It's page after page after page of all the places getting effed off in the Great Black Death. How they literally entombed whole cities and just put the bodies in houses and buildings and then buried them like that because they couldn't dig ditches big enough.
Did they have enough people to carry on after, administrative staff?
Some cities had 10 people left. Some cities were left with 10 people to every 100 that died, or every 90 that died, 10 survived. It was crazy. The conservative estimate by scholarship today is that 1/3 of the entire world's population died 700 years ago when this happened. However, that's conservative scholarship. It could have been far worse. We could have been reset all the way back to 10% of the world's population.
and start all over again.
This is the long reset. It was 300 years of plagues. It just never stopped. It just kept going and going and going. And only when the plague subsided worldwide did we enter the Renaissance period.
Yeah. The Enlightenment.
The Enlightenment. That's when we were able to grow, populate again, start building our technology infrastructure again. And what's crazy is during this 300-year period, all the construction on the universities and cathedrals slowed down. Some of the cathedrals took hundreds of years because there was no building projects going on during the whole cities in Europe were emptied.
That's just mad. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, this just goes on and on and on. This is all plague. It just goes on and on and on. All the different look. I'm still on 1347.
Yeah.
It just goes on and on and on, talking about all the places getting wiped out. It's crazy. Now 1348 and 1349 and 1350 is a Phoenix year. But 1347, 1348, and 1349, the world is getting wiped out. And it goes on for about 40 years. And then it just starts all over again. It just keeps on going for 300 years, over and over and over, man.
And then just stops dead.
So let me show you like, I just got a couple more dates. Let's look at 1360. Here's 1360. There was a great dearth this year in mortality of people called the Second Plague because it was the second in the reign of Edward III and a very great death of cattle and horses. 6,000 horses died in the army. Many houses were burnt by thunder and lightning. Many strange meteors were seen in the air. On the 16th of the calends of February was a hurricane, the greatest, and it did the most mischief of any remembered in England. Let's see. The plague was in Italy.
Wow.
Yeah. In the month of May, there was a great eclipse of the sun in England, followed by a drought. The year appeared 2 castles in the air. It just goes on and on.
Narratives. What do they mean by that?
Well, a castle is a construction, so there's just a frame of reference. It was some type of construction they saw in the air, super construction.
Yeah, simple. Yeah, just nuts.
So, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's there was something I wanted to show. Evening began such a southwest wind. There was something in 1360. I guess it was just the second plague. So let's go to 1374 real quick. In France and Italy prevailed the like madness. This was another aspect of the plague. It was called the madness. For in July, a company of men and women gathered together dancing. Yeah. Listen, they're dancing.
Dancing their bellies.
Yeah, well, this is part of the dancing plague. You ever heard of the laughing plague?
Yeah, of course, and the dancing sickness as well.
Yes, they had a dancing sickness too, where people it looked like they were dancing, but they were actually dying.
Yeah. So, doing the dying play.
Their bellies were so swelled that they were ready to burst. Therefore, they were lightly twitched about with a napkin. They traveled about in Flanders for near 4 years. In Upper Germany, the madness seized some people so that as men and women danced, they fell on the earth and foamed.
Wow.
Yeah, there's so many accounts of this in here. You got the laughing sickness, the withering giggles. Can you imagine walking up on a whole city and everybody's laughing hysterically, but their eyes are not laughing. They're actually in pain.
Yeah, they're just stuck laughing.
And they're dying.
Oh my gosh. That'd be like
yeah, dude. So, let's see. Death in England again, divers other countries. Innumerable people died of the contagious sickness. Yeah, it just goes on, dude. This plague never stops for 300 years.
That dancing sickness, the one narrative I read was there was ergot in the field, in the rye, and it's blown into the population, and they were all, high.
Yeah, my problem with the local, specialists are always trying to give local explanations. Yeah. But the problem is it was going on worldwide. So. It's like scholarship tries to tell us that mice infected with the bubonic plague from China and India infected the Mediterranean and Europe, but that's not the case. No, the eyewitness accounts of the time said that there was objects in the sky spraying some type of plague fog. So, and the mice from ports doesn't make sense because many areas in the deep interior of Central Asia and Europe were infected by the plague as if it was windborne. and had nothing to do with ice. They're far away from any coasts.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Landlocked countries had the plague. Czech Republic.
See, 1382, no wind this year in Germany. Yet, let's see, it was most fatal to young people and children. Something died, 90,000 people of barefooted friars, 1,200,000 friars, Christians died.
What?
So anyway, this just goes on for 300 years of nothing but of plagues and sickness and all this stuff going on. And then all of a sudden it just stops. And when it stops, the world wakes up, dude. And it's like the longest reset ever. 300 years, man.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's crazy. Let me get out of here.
That must have been a time of struggle for everybody.
Well, according to these two books, I'm going to show these real quick. Let me remove this. Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
According to these two books I have right here. Mm-hmm. These are on the 1347 Great Black Death Plague. According to these two books, these scholars that went through here, they said this plague shut everything down. He says trade shut down, commerce, ports were refusing any trade ships coming in because they didn't want anybody to bring plague in. Cities had locked their gates. They weren't letting anybody come in.
Starvation.
All the Jewish moneylenders and financiers and tax collectors and mayors and governors that were trapped in these European cities, once the plague started, they couldn't escape because local Christian populations now exacted vengeance for what they thought was financial malpractices and things that Jews had been protected for, because the Norman, under the 250 years of Norman Golden Age, the Normans also acted like a policing agent. You couldn't actually do anything to anybody without going and getting permission from the authorities, just like today. And the authority back then was the Norman power structure. So, but the Norman power structure actually favored these people who were tax collectors and tax assessors and agents and postal route. They exchanged the information, interpreters, mayors, and governors. All of these people were empowered by the Normans to run the Christian communities throughout Europe, and this is what led to a lot of discontent and a lot of hatred between Christians and Jews, is because they felt like they were getting shafted over and over by these people, but they were protected by the power structure. What the Great Plague had done had come in and taken that protection from them, and all over Europe for about a 5-year period, Christians were murdering Jews everywhere. All over the cities. It was a huge reset for the Jewish power structure that was going on at the time, but it was a 300-year reset for the entire world, for the Turks, for the Middle East, for all of Northern Africa, which was very civilized at the time. The Barbary states, Tripoli, Libya, all of that was very civilized at the time, full of libraries and literacy, all wiped out by the plague. China, India, the ancient East, all trade stopped. The spice trade stopped. International commerce stopped. Different kings in different realms started recognizing only their own coinage. I'm talking about, it got so bad nobody even wanted to have any contact with anybody that didn't speak their language or even look like them, because everybody's scared. Well, everybody was scared of getting dancing sickness. They were scared of getting the giggles. They were scared of getting the bubonic plague, and it shut the world down for almost 300 years, bro. And that's why I titled this video "The Long Reset."
Wow! Can you imagine somebody walking towards you having just a hysterical laughing fit, but their eyes are like in fear?
It's like, crazy, dude.
Isn't infected. There's have you ever seen that film? Not What Dreams May Come. It's an end of the world film, a black and white one. What Things May Come. And they got a thing in there called the Wandering Sickness. Have you ever seen that? And the people, it's a post-apocalyptic film. And there's people just wandering around, just like aimlessly all over the realm. That's what's infected people, is this wandering sickness. It's a bit like that.
No, I haven't heard that one, bro. Wandering sickness. That is crazy.
Yeah. Wandering Sickness. What Things May Come. It's a really famous film with British film with.
Well, I'm going to tell you now, the dancing sickness and the giggles, to me, those are different than bubonic plague. Those are neurological
Yeah, they would
That's
be
affecting
neurological.
the
That's what I was
nervous
thinking.
system.
You know, whatever it is, it's affecting neurology. But, you know, the plague is a completely different thing. So, yeah.
I don't know, man. It seems like humanity. I mean, William Bramley in The Gods of Eden, he's a military historian. It's pretty scary what he shows. He shows that the medieval historians of the day were saying that black objects were appearing in the skies over Europe in spraying plague fogs.
What about this, right? Because all is mind and consciousness, right? So, like what happened 5 years ago, if there was or if there wasn't, I'm not saying that, but the fear of getting ill and the fear of it often makes people ill. So if there was like a worldwide propaganda of, oh, this plague's going to come and get you, any foreigner, which has happened like recently, then people would turn on one another. You know, a little bit of fake propaganda coming from a certain people, this, that, and the other, and everyone will just tear one another apart. And people would get ill as well because, you know, if you believe you're going to get ill, you're going to get ill.
Well,
whether or not you know, a pathogen is something that is neither here or there. But if you think of it in an RV, the whole idea makes perfect sense to me anyway, because a refresh rate.
I see another pattern emerging. And you already know 2 different patterns doesn't negate one or the other. Many patterns can be coexisting at the same time. The pattern I see is cultural. And what I mean is there is a lot of evidence to show that the fall of Rome was because of Jewish intrigues. And they played a huge part in the invasion of Odovacar the German and the 10 nations of Europe when they finally came in 476 AD and overcame Europe. Europe had been weakened over a period of time because the Jews wanted revenge because Rome had destroyed Jerusalem twice. And in 135 AD in the Bar Kokhba rebellion, it started the diaspora, which sent all the Jews into the Muslim countries. They started the exilarchy in Persia, which we call Iran today, where they're still in power. And then we turn around and they flooded all the European countries that would host them and take them in. And since 135 AD, they wanted their revenge, and they finally got it in 476 AD. So 476 AD was the fall of Rome. And there was also right after that, 522, Justinian darkness began, the Dark Age period. And when these people resurfaced as a international power, it was through the Normans. And for 250 years, they had this a massive wealth. They were able to fleece the wealth out of Europe and the Mediterranean, and they got super rich, and the same pattern happened. Now it wasn't the Justinian darkness, the Phoenix phenomenon of 522 AD that ended the Jewish power structure. Now it was the Great Black Death plague that ended that power structure and that stranglehold, because they got reset just like everybody else. They even got aired out by Christians exacting vengeance. So
how did the Normans get so smart?
What I'm seeing now is the exact same pattern unfolding, bro. I'm seeing the exact same pattern.
No, it is. I can see it, but you're saying
we have 15 more years till the Phoenix phenomenon in 2040. And I have already been telling my community for over 2 years that these people have a contract with the construct, just like in 1902 when they took over the United States. And the seal was changed from the Phoenix to the bald eagle. But these people have a history with the Phoenix phenomenon that is inextricable. You cannot separate their history from the Phoenix phenomenon. And in 2040, I see the same thing happening as the Great Justinian Darkness, which was caused by the Phoenix, and the Great Black Death Plague. Both of them, the common denominator was a complete collapse of the Jewish power structure internationally. I see the same thing happening in 2040, an absolute complete collapse of that structure. And it's already building toward it right now. It's already building toward it. I think that's why in the last 5 or 6 years, all of this stuff has been coming to the table in the news media. All these financial intrigues, Epstein list, all this stuff is in the air right now. People are becoming more and more conscious that, look, man, what's going on right now may have been going on for a very long period of time.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun, man.
Yeah, do you know, like the Norse? It was just occurred to me just now how advanced they got, because You know, if they're from Scandinavia, yet their Norse origin is they don't build any permanent structures, it's just wooden roundhouses. How did they get from going to northern France and building giant cathedrals when they never had any in their own culture? How did
that's a super good question. I mean, as far as it could be something as simple as the creativity and genius of the Northmen met its expression in the construction of amazing dragon ships, which are nothing but buildings that float. However, with the proper finances given to you to build structures not on the ocean but on land, your creativity has no bounds if somebody's going to pay for it.
Okay, I can see that. But maybe they had some influence, though.
Yeah,
some of these buildings
the Northmen. Let me tell you one thing that sets the Northmen apart from other cultures. This is a culture of people who can walk into a forest with tools and walk out with a fully made dragon ship that hasn't even touched the water yet. And each man in the troop has his own piece of wood to carry. And when they get to the next body of water, they put the whole ship together, put their belongings on it, get on the ship, sail somewhere. And when they need to, they can take apart that whole ship.
Clinker built.
Yes, they can literally use the pieces of the ship for a camp, where it's got seats and chairs and tents and all that stuff. Yeah, this is what the Northmen did. That type of genius right there has no bounds if they have the right finances.
Yeah, I get that. I can see that.
It's amazing. All they used was wood.
Yes, some drinkage.
Some drinkage, man.
Oh my God.
So you tell me, because I have a feeling that in the next week or so, I'm going to be on your channel. What are we going to talk about on your channel?
Good one. You mentioned Columbus.
Oh, yeah, man. That's one of the most famous Jews in world history.
And they pushed him like there's no tomorrow. So.
Yep. Christopher Colon. Christovel Colon he was Genoan, actually.
I've been to Genoa, and when I went into the port, some guy came up on a boat, a little boat, and he shouts at me, "Christopher Columbus." I was like, "Yeah, dude, I dig it." That's all he said to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Just saying the birthplace of Christopher Columbus. I was like, yeah, wow, nice one. But,
you know what? We could talk about that because it was 1492, and he was forced to leave with his 3 ships. And they held him there and wouldn't let him leave until a certain day. Do you know what that day was?
Easter Sunday? Easter Day?
It was the exact day that Ferdinand and Isabel kicked 800,000 Jews out of Spain.
Oh, right. He landed in Honduras anyway. He didn't actually
go
to America.
Yeah, Cristobal Colon, he was a Genoan Jew. And he had access to old Turkish maps, and he had convinced the crown that, hey man, there are islands and lands and resources out here.
Yeah,
but
he
Ferdinand
thought that he was going to get to
India.
Yeah, he had a word off Hiram Abiff, who had worded him up with a map and said, "Oh, you can get to India that way. If you just carry on going that way, you go right the way around. There's no land there, honest, and then you'll just hit India eventually, or the east, China, or whatever." But there was a big thumping great continent in the way. So apparently he had no knowledge of, they say.
Yeah, that's crazy, man, because Ferdinand and Isabel had a chief torturer, Torquemada. You ever heard of the story of Torquemada?
Mm-hmm.
He's the grand torturer for Aragon and Castile under Ferdinand, and he's the grand torturer, and he was instrumental in getting 800,000 Jews kicked out of Spain at the exact same day that Columbus was ordered to take his fleet out, because they knew he was Jewish too. They knew he was Jewish too. But Torquemada,
interesting,
he's Jewish. He was the main torturer for the Spanish crown, but he himself was Jewish.
For the Inquisition.
For the Inquisition, yes. His name is Torquemada. Yeah. It's crazy, man. So yeah, we can talk about Columbus, or we can talk about something else, or we can freestyle. You know how we do it.
What about the Jesuits?
Who were they?
Do you know? Do you know much about them?
Well,
have you ever heard their oath?
Okay, I have not heard their oath. I don't think.
God.
I may have read it.
Well, I wouldn't read it out loud on the internet. That's for sure.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty bad. They confess. They don't lie about anything that they do. The secret police for the Vatican. Yeah. But Loyola was their initiative. He started it all off. He was apparently
Ignatius Loyola. Yeah, Ignatius Loyola. Yeah. Ignatius Loyola. I can't pronounce it.
Loyola.
Yeah. I believe he was a part of the tiny hat takeover of the papacy.
That's what I'm trying to suggest. Yeah, but he was from Basque. But if you look into his origins and stuff,
because
so they got like every single bit covered, really. Think about it.
Yeah, they took over the Vatican a long time ago, man. And you're right. Jesuits is a play on words, just like my favorite franchise ever, Star Wars. I'm not dumb. I know where they got Jedi from, but yeah, that's a Death Star.
We're all Jedi Knights, guys. We're all Jedi Knights. Yeah, the Force is strong with this one.
The Force is strong with this one. Luke, I am your mother.
Stop kissing your sister. You never actually said that. You know that, don't you? That's another thing.
Yeah.
Mandela effect, some say. Who even knows? I don't know.
That's crazy, man. Hey, you know what? Coffee done flowed through me. We done took care of this video, show these pictures. So basically what we learned today is that coming out of the 300 years of Dark Ages since the Great Justinian Darkness, not a whole lot of development happened during the Dark Ages at all. But when we emerged, all of a sudden, these Northmen, within a 60-year period, they made a deal with the French king to get some land, later called Normandy in northern France. And when they made that deal, the Jews of France locked on to these people because they saw the potential. And within another 60 years, Norman armies had taken over Great Britain, had taken over Ireland. They founded Dublin. They turned around and Norman armies started taking all the places in Europe, and properly financed, they built this huge infrastructure. They also are the origin of the Domesday Book, which I'm pretty sure that every country that was influenced by them in the tiny hats has a Domesday Book, but it's England that actually preserved theirs. So
you can visit it.
Yeah, so that's what we learned. That's what we learned. For 250 years, there was an economy like the one we have today, international. And we have a socio-political situation like we have today, where a small culture of people are in absolute control of the finances and the media. They're in control of entertainment. They're in control of information. They're in control of international trade, all this stuff, and they're using another culture as their bullies. Americans. They're using another country as their military might and their bullies, and they're doing all. It's the exact same things that were going on right before Rome fell. It's the same things that were going on right before the Norman Empire fell, and it's the exact same things going on today as went on with the Crusades. The Crusades were all about wiring up Christians to go attack Muslims and to play both sides from the middle. And I
agree with you. Yeah,
it was a huge racketeering deal. So this is what happened.
Always.
Yeah, they used Christianity. They used two religions that were both basically founded by these people. Because if you don't know the real history of Islam, then you really don't. You think, it's not Arabian. It was imposed on the Arabian people. It is not originally an Arabian belief system. So this is this crazy. I've seen it all right here. It's 2025. We have 15 more years before this same pattern is going to unfold again, and it's going to be the next reset.
Do you ever take any notice of the current political situation, or do you not even look at it?
Like what?
Like the state of the world at the moment, if you're to believe the shit show world stage, is in a terrible mess.
Oh, it's in a terrible mess. Yeah, it's to me, it's the, to be absolutely totally honest, the entire Jewish international power structure is becoming so well known to everybody now that it's not even a surprise.
No, it's not a surprise to me at all. Not the follow the money, but I'm trying to get to the bottom in my head of what exactly is going on, because everyone's being played and there's a narrative coming and it's all attached to war and making money. But, you know, when Adolf Hitler started annexing countries, it caused a world war. Now, Trump, he's like, oh, well, I'm going to annex Greenland because it's strategically important. The people of Greenland are on YouTube videos. They're really happy about being American. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And Gaza is going to annex that, turn it into a fairground. So all of these weird things. And now, you know, our greatest ally is America, right? We've been best friends forever, right? Grew up with American culture. And suddenly, the atmosphere between American politics and British politics is at an all-time low. It's never been as bad as this. And Canada, you know, the start of the apocalyptic film or series Fallout, it starts with like America went to war with Canada, right? And now you got this really, you know, Trudeau telling, you know, fucking Trump that he's dumb and what a stupid thing to do. You've just crippled everyone. Sorry, people of Canada, but we've got to, like, you know, everything that comes over the border, the bread for fucking Wendy's, 25 cents dearer. Everything is up. Everything. Wow. It's just gonna, yeah, man. So he did it back. So there's this like trade war worldwide, where this country's been included, and now Canada has joined Europe with Britain and fucking Ukraine, yeah, and America and Russia are sort of, it seems like, together.
Yeah, well, the American-Russian alliance was something I had talked about in videos 4 years ago on my predictions videos. But as far as I got predictions videos about.
I wouldn't have predicted that. See,
that I got my predictions videos from 4 years ago. I specifically mentioned that behind the scenes, no matter what you see in political theater, behind the scenes, 100% the United States and Russia are allied. So check it out. This is what you can probably expect. This is just my personal opinion, but when it starts to unfold, remember I told you. Remember this. The United States is going to set a precedent because that's what Israel needs. It's what Israel needs. Israel's not going to just sit there and militarily annex areas that are around it to create the greater Israeli state that they really want, which their military IDF patches already show. They can't just do that without suffering all kinds of repercussions. So they're going to need somebody like the United States to go ahead and do it first to create the international precedents. Then everybody can say United States did it, so we did it.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, they tried it with the Sinai and kicked off all that war in the sewers. It was terrible.
Yes, once the United States annexes anybody else at this point, man, Israel can easily fall back on that because really Israel owns the United States. The United States is not independent anymore. And all these people that think, you know, the whole MAGA movement and all that, think that Trump's the savior and all that, he's 100% Israeli. Absolutely.
And no, that's why he always goes to the Wailing Wall. They all do, and then does that thing that they all do there.
Yeah.
You know,
so that's what it's really about. And then when it takes off, once you know, United States annexes somebody, Israel gets to follow suit. Then Israel gets to point the finger at America. America's going to come defend Israel against who? Islam. What's it going to do? It's going to start the next crusades. Who's going to benefit? Of course, you already know who's going to benefit because they always play both sides in the middle.
I really do see a new crusade coming. It's just all pointed towards that. Yeah.
We got a whole new crusade building. There's no doubt. World War III is about Christianity, Islam, and political Zionism all destroying each other.
But one of the last things my mother said before she died, she said, "We're going to have a big war, Matt." I was like, "Oh God," that's all she said. Not in her lifetime, but that's what she said to me. And she had everything else right. So I've always had that in the back of my mind. Her words.
Yeah, man, it's all crazy. It's all crazy.
We'll see. It's all a world stage. They're all actors, as you know, but at the same token, it affects everything. So there's that. You know, these new cards being played, everything. He's only been in like 40 odd days. He's like renamed oceans, took countries, taxed the world.
Yeah. You know what? Trump come in office and he just started making all these changes that a lot of conservative Americans really wanted to hear. But it doesn't mean they're going to remain permanent.
No, that's true. I mean? Yeah.
Anytime you have a whole population of people that are living in one of the most financially great nations in the world that provides money for all over the places, you have to have a release pressure valve in play. Because once they've gone through 4 years of bullshit with one regime, and they've already seen what a good presidency was the first 4 years Trump was in there, it says they're at the boiling point. And so these people are expert at controlling populations. So Trump's here to make everybody feel better. It doesn't mean anything he's doing is going to be permanent. It could all get slick. Trump may do everything, and for 6 months, everything looks really good and all that, and then they pull the rug out, and we're going in a whole different direction. This is what they do.
I can see that.
This is what they do.
I see woke as a depopulation tactic, because if the whole population was woke, then no babies were going to be born. So
when they put a fence around Washington D.C., that was not for the American people. They gave the American people some bullshit ass narratives. That right there was a power move, literally telling the rest of the world we are now in occupation of Washington, D.C. Simple as that.
Yeah. Wow. That's just nuts. Think of that, though. You know, how the people of America feel. It's just craziness.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy, man.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty bad state in Britain. Not that I get into it or anything, you know, try to ignore the media, but it affects everybody here.
Man, the world gets any crazier. 15 years from now, man, is gonna be something people celebrate, not fear.
I don't fear anything. I've been literally thought that I've been prepping my entire life, you know, waiting for Archaix and all that, buzzed up, ready, and still waiting. Just getting a bit older. So, you know, get it on already.
Well, look, I love you, brother. I love your community, and I love my community, but I also love my bladder, and it's talking to me right now.
Yeah, I got the same. Thanks, everybody. See you all later.
I'll talk to you later, Martin, and we'll schedule when I'm gonna come on your channel, man.
All right then, man. All right then.
Holler at you.
Okay then. Speak to you soon. Thanks for the invite. See you later, guys.
Oi, oi.
Oi, oi.
Love that guy. But I do love my bladder. And I'm fixing to check out right now by giving you guys an outro video. Got to do it because I'm about to explode.